Hi and welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus and as promised today I'm starting my playthrough of Dice Hospital and I'm using the solo Automa that ships with the community care expansion. In the meantime I was able to do another training session, a 3-player training session. Unfortunately I didn't manage to do a solo training session, so really bear with me. I will definitely go down. And as Stacia, one of my patrons, told me, I really don't have any high hopes because this game is rolling a lot of dice and you know how good or bad I'm rolling those dice. So yeah, don't count me or expect me to win in any way here. And again, I have no clue how this Automa actually operates. And that being said, I'm playing with a normal difficulty mode. So there are 3 difficulty levels of those Automa cards here. And again, I'm using the normal mode, which is basically 3 easy ones, 3 medium ones, and 3 hard ones. So I shuffle those together randomly. So there is an excess of 3 cards of each of those decks. So I really don't know what those are, but I don't know them anyway. So again, I could have even shown these to you. I have no clue what other cards might be missing, but those are the 9, let's call them scoring cards for the Automa. So this is basically telling the Automa what dice they will get points for in the end. On top of this, we have this deck of decision cards here, which basically not really a randomizer, but also telling the AI what to do, what to choose, what ambulance to go for, what improvement to remove and whatnot. So, but this is something that we will go through the deck, I guess, more than once. At least this is how I understand it. I might be completely wrong. In respect to those Automa cards down here, this is what they are. So we will flip over one of those. I believe one card doing a round. We start with one card face up already. Again, this is telling the AI what dice they will get points for. Here, a red die and a yellow die. That could give them some bonus dice. You really don't know what the here is. Yeah, and that's pretty much it in respect to the preparation. Everything else is more or less a 2-player game, and because of some decision making, the human player is always the starting player, at least from the start. This will change or can change throughout the game. And again, in a 2-player game it works a little bit different to a 3 or 4-player game. You only have 3 improvements out, and the starting player gets to choose if it's an extra station or ward tile here, or if it's another specialist. In this case, I decided to go with another ward, the orthopedics and the cardiology. They are both okay. I guess I will go for this one here, relatively certain, but again, it depends now a little bit on which tiles or cards the AI player is going for. Again, if I get, let's say, a card and the AI is going to be the first player, then yeah, they will get first dips on those improvements. And again, this is really a tile I desperately need. But yeah, again, I will explain the game as I go. Maybe one last thing to mention are those administrator cards. Usually you start the game with 2 and pick one, and they were both, I don't know, okay, they're really not groundbreaking, and quite honestly I'm not a huge fan of those because you don't really get to use them very often. But it's usually also a very tight game, so getting an extra point might be key. But in this case I decided to go with Mary Elisa Mahoney here. She allows me once per round to ignore the deterioration of one of my yellow patients, if I'm not treating them, that is. So yeah, maybe that will help me. I don't know. But okay then, let's get started. Again, I'm the starting player, so I get to choose the ambulance first. And as a starting player, I'm not allowed to go for ambulance number 1 because usually the starting player goes to the player who takes the lowest valued ambulance, and this basically keeps me from remaining starting player. Because if you get starting player token, you also get one of those blood bag tokens, which can score you a point, but you can also use them in other various beneficial ways. And again, if I'm lucky enough to get the cardiology, I definitely want to get this ambulance here. Of course, it's a poker game, so I really don't know. But yeah, let's go for this ambulance. So we are doing the so-called intake, which now means I have to assign those patients into the proper wards here. It doesn't really matter where they go. It's really only important that every player only has 12 spots available. If I get more patients into my wards, then someone else must die. That's really a problem. You're getting one of those, I don't know, penalty tokens here. Oops, they go into the mortuary here and basically will score you 2 negative points at the end of the game, each of those. Apart from that, those patients tell you how good or in which shape those patients are. Higher values are good, lower values are bad. If a patient deteriorates from 1 down to 0, then they die, obviously. And the other way around, if a patient is on 6 and gets treated one more step, we can basically send them to the discharge lounge up here and will score some points depending on the amount of patients we are going to discharge at the end of this round. The AI player doesn't have a board. They will score everything with those Automa cards here. But again, I come to that when we get there. But now it's really time for the AI to make their first quote-unquote choice. So we are flipping over the first decision card here, and this tells us which car the AI will go for. This is the first choice, this is the second choice, and in this case, oof, that's pretty okay. First choice is ambulance 3. Ambulance 3 is still around. So they will go for those guys. And again, the AI doesn't really care at all what those values show. So you will never suffer any losses or whatever discharging. They will only assign those dice to those Automa cards. Again, I will do that when we get to the hospital activation. In theory, you could do that right now. It doesn't really change a thing. But apart from that, that's it. That also means we will stay starting player because we have taken ambulance number 2, which is a good thing because, again, even if you stay starting player, you still get a blood bag token. Again, they can be quite powerful and useful. And this also means I have first dibs on those hospital improvements here, and that's definitely handy because, again, I want the cardiology, so let's totally grab that and I will place them into or next to my ward in a second. But usually, again, if the Automa is not the first player, we will choose the improvement tile and then we will pretty much discard those other cards. I think they go to the bottom of the stack, but in a 2-player game, you usually don't go through them anyway. It doesn't really change a thing. And then we will flip over the leftmost Automa card, which is still only a level 1 card, and they don't have a right side here. Problem is, if he would have become, or if they, sorry for the gender stuff here, but if the Automa would be the starting player, they would also draw one of those first Pokemon, basically covering up this one, so the AI wouldn't be able to score these cards in full. Unfortunately, they are now able to do so. As mentioned, I get to place the new ward next to my player board here. Doesn't really matter where they go. There are no adjacency bonuses whatsoever. You simply need to find a slot there. That's a cardiology. You can also send every meeple you have there. You start the game with 3 of those neutral nurses here, but again, they can go anywhere. You see the gray symbols. Gray means they take every color. The same is true for dice. So even a nurse can do something useful here in the cardiology. Obviously, we know that's the case anyway. This was the hospital improve phase, and now we are really doing our hospital activation. So let me start, and then we will move over to the Automa, seeing what they will do. And again, the idea is to use our staff to the maximum, and this is by using the more advanced wards here, like the cardiology. The cardiology says if you're placing a meeple on this station here, you get to treat 3 patients. The thing is, those 3 patients must be all red in this case, and they all must be in a consecutive row, like whatever, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, you name it, and then you get to heal it. If you can only partially fulfill this requirement, let's say you only have a 3 and a 4 red dice, then you're not allowed to take that action here. And this is really now very crucial. Good thing is we have other modifiers in our hospital here in order to make that work. So again, I will do that here basically relatively slowly. We will start with nurse sending here to the critical care unit, which allows you to upgrade or treat one of your patients, red patients, by 1, which means flipping them basically the 4 here to the 5. What you also do then is to move every treated patient basically from the topmost row to the bottom row here, which shows the game, or basically everyone, hey, I treated this patient, so this patient will not deteriorate at the end of the round. Every patient that's still up here will basically deteriorate, basically getting one down. So if I don't treat those two guys here, they will both go down to 2. And that's the way how some of your patients might die. And rest assured, I may not make it through this scenario unharmed, actually. I'm really not good at this game, must confess. I really like it a lot, but I'm really not good. It's really such a nice puzzle game. With it, yeah, it comes with some, let's say, luck elements, but you really have a lot of choices and a lot of ways to mitigate this luck. So really works pretty well. But again, I'm not really good at it. Okay, so we treated this patient, which means we have now our consecutive row here, 3, 4, 5. So sending a nurse here to the cardiology might be a good idea. And yes, you can treat a patient several times. You can only ever use your meebles once per round and all of your station or wards once per round, but you can treat patients various times. And I think let's totally do that. So we were going up here to the cardiology, which means this goes to a 4, this goes to a 5, and this goes to a 6. And in theory, next round, I can do that again, and then we would be able to heal one of our patients here. Problem is, we are now down to only one nurse here, and we have 3 more dice that are not being treated. I will definitely treat one more, and it doesn't really matter which one to treat. So I could now decide basically getting this fella here to a 6 and maybe hope next round. I think that's what I should do. But then I will accept that the both go down to 2. But there are also great specialists or wards which really help you with those low health kind of patients. And this is what I'm hoping for, at least. So yeah, I think let's send the nurse here to the pharmacy, which means you can treat one of your patients one step. I will go for this 5. Again, we will slide this fella down. 4 out of 6 is not bad. Let me show you that in the very first round. But yeah, you will usually not be able to treat all of your patients in round 2, especially because you're starting already with 3 patients, and there are even harder variants in the game, in the base game, where you say, hey, let's start the game with 4 patients, for example. Doesn't that sound like a nice idea? And yeah, but that's pretty much already my hospital activation. We were not able to send someone to the discharge lounge, which is, I think, okay, because during the next round we might be able to get rid of both of those guys. And the more patients you are discharging, the more points you get. But again, I will explain that to you when we get there. So that was our hospital activation phase. Let's move over to the Automa, and it's very simple. You start left, you go to the right, you see if a die matches. In this case, yeah, this die matches, we place him here. All the other dice will stay where they are. They will not go back to the back, and that's kind of a bummer. It's really a tricky situation, but it's also pretty much simulating a 2-player game, because again, those patients also usually go to the other player. And here in this case, I'm even playing with 3 more dice because he doesn't start with any patients. In a normal 2-player game, again, 6 dice would be already out. But this could take some while until those dice go back. At least I think that that's the case. So, but let's see about that. Yeah, again, we don't have any red dice, we don't have any green dice, and as soon as basically all the spots are full here, then this patient is healed. I will score the points that are printed here, and then the die or the dice go back into the bag. And that was already the complete hospital activation. Really, really simple, something I really like in a good solo game or in a good solo mode. Really very straightforward Automa card. And that's really, really, really a job well done. Then we come to the phase 4, which are the neglected patients. We didn't treat those 2, which means they do deteriorate down to 2. Everyone else will slide up again. So again, we have to keep treating those patients during the next round. This is something that never happens to the Automa. I think I already mentioned this. We don't have any discharge patients in this case. So yeah, in this case, we can also skip. The same is true for the AI player. Then we are doing the shift change. Everything will pretty much reset. Those dice that haven't been used go back to the back. We will bring out more cards or more improvement cards. Again, I get to choose what I want, and not 100% sure if I have to choose after I've seen this, but this game seems to be already pretty hard as it is. So I will peek. That's a cool one. So one nurse can treat basically 3 patients that are value 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, I only have 2 of those. So if I go for this, it also means I have to get another die. Because again, if you cannot fulfill this condition here, having 3 patients with a 1, 2, or 3 value, I cannot use this room. But let's see what the patient or the specialist is. A paramedic, also nice. Oh, he's a cool guy. So when this guy is treating someone, I can basically treat another patient with a value 1, 2, 3 another time. So that would be my card. But I believe I need a second specialist anyway, because you need meeples. Otherwise, you're really in bad shape, which is why I go for this. The triage nurse is similar. But when the triage nurse is treating a patient, you're pretty much treating 2 patients that are 1, 2, 3 by 2 steps. And this could be nice, but these need to be other patients, by the way. That's really important. This is always other patients. So I cannot treat a level 2 patient, then treat the same patient 2 more steps. That's not allowed. They're paramedic. They're really good at working basically on various cases at the same time. Okay, I get to make the choice. If the AI would be the starting player, we would have flipped over another decision card and they would have made the choice. But in this case, I was the starting player, so I got to choose. And then we are basically already moving into the second round. That's the one piece that really annoys me in this game, is pretty much this round track here, but it is really fiddly, and usually if you're sitting not next to it, you cannot really see it. That's the one piece that doesn't really work well in this mode. This could be something nicer, maybe really simply something that you flip, or maybe we can get another syringe here for one of the other players and use it. I really don't like this cardboard piece here. Okay, then we have to refill the ambulance. So we need 9 more dice. We draw those randomly out of the bag. That's 5, 7. Ooh, 7 and 9. Ooh, that's a very interesting. Okay, now we roll those, basically setting their conditions, and we are re-rolling every 1s and 2s on those dice, by the way, which is pretty much everything. Okay, we keep those. They're very low value, actually. Interesting. I think, yeah, we keep rolling those. And I think as of the next round, I will do this off camera. This is kind of annoying watching me roll. We have to re-roll this. This stays out. It's another 6. Again, we keep re-rolling until it's no longer a 1 or a 6. And then I will basically assign those to the ambulances, which in a multiplayer game is done by the player who is last, or who, I think it's the last player exactly. But in this case, it's always the human player. But there are some rules in here. The lowest scoring ones always go to ambulance number 1. So it comes with a price if you want to be the starting player. The higher value one always go into the highest values. And then I basically get to choose where to place the remainder of those. That's interesting. I think I want this one here getting some more, because I have this special ability of my administrator ignoring the deterioration of one of my yellow patients. Keep that in mind. And maybe I have a chance getting this die. And I have first dibs now anyway. Again, I'm not allowed to choose ambulance number 1 again, but I don't fancy this anyway. So it's definitely down to 3 or 2 in this case. And they're all kind of nice, actually. But I think, I mean, I could go for the 2, and then I could still hope that the AI would go basically giving me the first player marker again, which is another blood bag tokens or another point at the end of the game, or I can use it. Or would I really go, because I have other high value rating, I think I need some mid-range dice too, actually. No, I will go for ambulance 2 again. I will put this into my hospital. Again, it doesn't really matter where those go. But let's see. Okay, yeah, he's going for hospital number 1. Okay, we will place those dice. And again, he keeps all those dice. He's getting, or AI is getting the starting player token, which also means this will be basically a blood bag. He will use those blood bags also to treat his patients, by the way. This will definitely, the AI will definitely score some points in this round. And again, the AI now has first dibs on the improvement. So we are drawing another card, right? I think that's how it works. I think it does. No, that's not true. They are flipping over exactly. No, that's because that's printed on those. That's basically the way how those Automa cards come into the play. We are flipping over the next Automa card here. Basically another patient, and I believe they're meaning the rightmost hospital improvement. I believe I have set this one up incorrectly, but I think I should place it like this. And in this case, they mean the rightmost tile. So basically what you're doing in a two-player game, again, one specialist, one ward, and then one ward or a specialist. And again, this is the rightmost board. That's how I understand this card. I might be terribly incorrect, but I think this hurts me. Yeah, I think this really hurts me. I really wanted the triage nurse here, but okay. Removed from the game, or basically put under the stack. And yeah, then it's pretty much over to me. One thing I nearly forgot was to place this first aid token on top of this card. So the AI will not be able to score these 6 extra points. And this could be quite helpful, actually. Yeah, damn sure about that. And yeah, we are always doing this on the card that has been revealed right now. Okay, and then I get to choose. And again, I really need the paramedic. I need more specialists. So let's grab her. We'll place her somewhere next to our hospital with the appropriate meeple next to it, so we can now really start using it. By the way, those nurses should go back to the nurses station, and then it's pretty much, yeah, back to the hospital activation. And again, we will do our actions first, I guess. And wow, we really have a hell of a lot of patients. I really wanted this triage nurse badly. But okay, let's see what we can do. Again, we can pull off this trick here again. And this time, yeah, we have to do that. We really have to do that. So we are sending another nurse here to the cardiology. Again, we can flip this to the 5. This goes to a 6 and also treated. And this guy is pretty much discharged because, again, we have treated him. And yeah, he's now discharged. We can also use our paramedic here. Let's not forget her. And we will definitely want to go for another green patient here. Basically treating this patient. That's 2 already. That's good. And 2 patients, I believe, are 3 points in total. There's a handy overview for that, but we will see about that too. We still have 5 more untreated patients. Keep in mind, we can ignore the deterioration of 1 yellow patient, so we most likely will not treat this. He might be really with us until the end of the game. I don't know. But we still have 2 more to go. I think it's now time to really using our paramedic. And again, we will treat another red patient here down there. Should we do that? On the other hand, if we don't do that, we could go for another combo next round. If I get rid of this guy, then I think let's not do that. But we should let's treat still a red patient. I think that's still okay. So we are treating this red patient going to a 4, which means we can pull off our trick next round again, which is okay. And because we have used the paramedic now to heal 1 patient, this means we can heal another patient that's value basically 1 to 3 by 2 more steps. And I think it's time to start treating those poor souls down there. And then we still have 1 more nurse waiting for us. And I think, yeah, we will send this nurse here to the intensive care unit, which allows you to pretty much heal 1 patient that's a value 1 or 2 by 1 step, just to make sure they are not deteriorating any further. Okay, I think that was our activation. In theory, I could use blood bag now to make sure that this patient gets treated too. So I can basically treat him. Yeah, basically I can use this blood bag to treat 1 patient. Then we would slide this one down too. But right now, yeah, let's not do that. That's okay. Let's not do that. Yeah, that was pretty much our activation phase. Let's move over to the Automa. And again, we will see. So we have a red patient here. So this card is fully healed. We'll score the AI 3 points. That's bad. Here we don't have a green patient. Here we need everything pretty much. Dum. That's that. And then we pretty much go again from left to right, see if we can somehow use our blood bags. And yes, we can do that like this. Pretty much a wild card for one of those dice, which means the AI will score 4 points at this round, at the end of this round. Well, that's pretty bad, pretty rough actually. But good thing is, yeah, here, yeah, I think that's not too bad. I think that's not too bad. And that's pretty much already the hospital activation. They still have 2 more yellow dice, but cannot assign those yellow dice here. Which means, what's the next step? Call the neglected patients, which again only counts for me. So this patient will deteriorate. We can ignore this poor soul here. Everyone else will slide up accordingly. Again, you could fill those holes, and I usually do that. Obviously, you have to see that you keep their values. And then we are going check the discharged patients. I have 2 discharged patients here, which basically scores us 3 points. Hooray. And the AI, as I already mentioned, will score those 2 cards here. So this is fully healed. That's 1 point plus 2 bonus points, 3 points. This is healed. Blood bag goes back. That's another point. So that's 4 points for the AI. And those syringes really look nice, but also not really helping. Maybe we should really place them here accordingly. Sometimes I use them to point here, but I think really putting them on top of the spaces definitely does make more sense. All the dice that the AI was using successful will go back to the bag, and the cards will also be discarded. So he will not score those patients again. That's at least something. But of course, AI still has those 2 yellow dice, and I think let's do, of course, the dice I used also go back to the back. I nearly forgot that. And also the 3 dice that were here on the ambulance. Again, we are now moving into the shift change. The Automa is now the starting player, which means they get to choose which additional hospital improvement is getting. So we are drawing 1 specialist for sure. That's the anesthetist. Basically, when you treat a red patient, you can treat another red patient, which is helpful. We are drawing 1 extra war tile. Operating theater, nice. Wow, you can treat a red patient 3 times. There you can basically also access. In theory, you can also apply this on a level 6 patient, by the way. We are drawing an Automa card, and this tells us what extra tile or extra improvement the AI choose. In this case, we are going for another ward. Pretty much the same thing. Orthopedics, yeah, that's the same thing for yellow dice here. Okay, that's nice. And then we are moving into the next round. So all of the ambulances should move back too. Again, I will now roll all those dice. And again, even though I'm not the starting player, I get to make the choices anyway, being the starting player. But I will now populate those ambulances off camera. And this is pretty much the result. We have some higher numbers now. I'm really fancying the 3. And right now, I really wouldn't care which of those improvements to go for. Sometimes really make those choices in relation to the improvement tiles that are out there. Whatever, I don't know, deliberately taking vehicles to make sure you be the starting player, for example. And yeah, basically get first dips down there. But in this case, I don't know if that's so important. I don't think so, actually. Maybe yes, this one could be helpful because I have some red dice, but so is this also helpful in this. But again, they're all not great, or not exactly great for me right now. But anyway, the AI has first dips on the ambulance, so let's see about that. Oh, that's interesting. Now I'm not sure. Usually, again, the player doesn't get to remain starting player. Though I cannot go deliberately for ambulance 1 if I have the starting player. But in the rules it's not mentioned that this is not possible for the iPlayer. So I think it's simply the first choice. And again, because of that, it doesn't really make real choices. I think, yeah, let's play it like it's printed on this card. So the AI will go for this ambulance down there, basically keeping this, but also means will remain starting player and also gain another blood bag token. And I get to choose my ambulance next. And I think there is now no reason not going for this one here, because this, yeah, having some more high, I think I did something wrong here actually. This die has to go in here. Apologies for that, but doesn't really change a thing. It's even better for me right now. Again, the highest scoring ones have to go here. Okay, I will go with ambulance number 3. I will assign those dice into my ward accordingly. And then, yeah, we are moving into the hospital improvement. So we are flipping over the next Automa. That's a medium level card. AI is the starting player, which means we are covering this tile here. And they're removing the rightmost one, which in this case, I think that's okay. That actually does help me. I really didn't, I mean, I have some yellow now, okay? Maybe I have some yellows now, but I think I might be able to do better. So I get to choose if I want another specialist, the red one, or if I would like to go for the operating theater. I'm not so, I think this allows me to treat 2 patients, whereas this only allows me to treat 1 patient 3 times. That's not bad, but I think right now I'm better off with this specialist. So yeah, let's grab him. Again, we are bringing him next to our player board with the according meeple. Again, he can treat anyone, but in order to power his special ability, he needs to really treat red patients. Really, really key. And then again, we have to start treating our patients. And now we're already in the situation where we only have 2 more slots. So if we're not discharging any patient this round, one of our patients will die, because we have to take in all the new patients and we only have 2 slots left. So yeah, let's better work on that, but that's okay. We can definitely start. Let's go with the cardiology. We sent our red doctor here to the cardiology, and now he's basically doing the same thing. 4, 5, 6, we already know the drill. That's a 6. The red die here is discharge. This goes to a 5, which is okay. Because we have used this doctor here, he treated 1 patient, we can now treat another patient. It really needs to be another patient, not one of those 3 we just treated. But that's also not a problem. We can treat this fella down here too, which is okay. So we have already treated 4 of our patients with only 1 die. I think that was definitely not too shabby. I think we are sending our paramedic here to the critical care unit to discharge this patient here. And again, she allows us to treat another patient. Any color, but needs to be a value 1 to. I think we will go for the green die here. Again, I'm not really too concerned about this yellow one here. We can still ignore that. We still have our 3 standard nurses, but we still have 5 more patients to treat. And we are now running out of our cool rooms, unfortunately. So I guess let's treat another red patient. Let's send someone here to the clinic, which allows you to treat a patient that's worth or has a health value of 5 or 6. So I guess, yeah, let's treat this fella here. So we have discharged, or we are going to discharge 6 patients. But I really have to do something. Let's go for the oncology. Treating this patient down here. And yeah, then we can treat a green patient here in the pharmacy. Another yellow patient. We can again ignore one of those. Yeah, why not? Let's send someone to the pharmacy and I don't know. Let's treat this guy down here. Right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. 2 of our patients will deteriorate. We have discharged 3. That's not bad. In theory, we could use our blood bag again, and maybe we should do that. Really treating this yellow patient now, because this is a jump of another 2 points. Instead of 5, you would score 7 points. Let's do that. So we will use our blood bag to treat this patient here. Yeah, I think so. Let's really optimize our score here. And it also clears up our room. So we have now 6 more spaces left. I think, yeah, basically giving us room for 2 more rounds, which is usually never a bad thing. Okay, this was our activation. Now let's do the same for our doctors here. Again, we have no green, but we have this one and this one here. So this patient is fully healed. We will do the same thing from left to right. They will assign this blood bag token. Luckily, doesn't get any bonus points whatsoever because they were first player in both of those rounds, especially on those high power card. That was incredibly lucky, I guess. But I will take that anytime. And yeah, then this was already the hospital activation, very quick. And then we are moving into the neglected patients, which means this one goes down to 3, was untreated, unfortunately. We will ignore this one again because of our Mary Mahoney here. Unfortunately, this wasn't treated as well. But apart from that, that's okay. So we are moving in here. Let's make some room. Oops, that was a 5. Let's not go too crazy. We have 2 full wards. I think that's okay. Next, we are discharging our patients. We have 4 of those. So let's check out the handy dandy overview here again. 4 patients equals 7 dice. I take that. They go back to the back. But at least this feels somewhat like progress. I take that. I believe I forgot to move this into the next round actually. Yeah, we're already in round 3. And problem is, I will also score 2 of their cards, which is 8 points. Good thing is we have now 2 stronger cards out and they didn't really fire their specialists, their rightmost abilities. Again, this would have been 10 more points. Of course, you require some more dice, but I think that was, I guess it was luck, but 10 more points is still bad enough. So 8 points, I think they're moving to 12. Okay, that's not too bad actually. Yeah, I think we can live with that. For now, all those dice go back, which they have used. The first 8 things also basically go back. We don't need them anymore. The blood bag goes back. The 2 cards are out of here. I take that. And that's pretty much the end of the round. So let's move into round 4. Let's not forget that this time. And we still have to replenish our little thing here. So again, we will start with a specialist, a surgeon. Surgeon is cool. If you're treating a red patient, you can heal that same patient, in this case, 1 extra time. So he's really working very thoroughly. We are revealing, and again, the operating theater. That doesn't help. So let's see what extra card or improvement. Another ward. This could be okay, actually. By the way, you always have the choice. If, let's say, there really is only crappy tiles or cards out there and you don't want them, you can always discard them in exchange for 1 blood bag token. But this is a great one. This is really a great one. I want this desperately. I really want this one here because I think we might be able to make this one work pretty nicely. I think we should be good. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Okay, but that was pretty much the end of the round, and I think I will end my playthrough for today. So I will definitely continue this playthrough in my next video. I will most likely be able to finish it then, because again, it's very quickly usually, especially when playing this alone. It doesn't take a lot of time, but even in a 2 or 3 player game, usually you really do things simultaneously, especially the hospital phases. If everyone knows what this game is all about and you trust each other, then you can totally do this simultaneously. And then it's really moving relatively quickly. A huge shout out to all of my patrons out there. Really do appreciate all your support. If you want to support the show, you will find a link to my page on Patreon in the description of this video. It will pop up somewhere. You can directly join me here on YouTube by clicking this little join button. You can like and subscribe. Everything helps as usual. And yeah, really hope to see you soon in one of my next video. I really hope to get this playthrough finished before the new year actually, and then let's see what 2021 will actually bring in. Yeah, really hope to see you soon, and until then, bye bye.